She said it so casually, almost like it meant nothing. We were sitting across from each other in a quiet restaurant. Soft light hanging above us, plates of pasta between us, the gentle clink of cutlery filling the silence between conversations. Everything about that evening felt right. Comfortable. Safe. The kind of night you don't question. And then she smiled, tilted her head slightly, and said, "You're just jealous." I laughed it off. I told myself it didn't matter. But that single sentence, it was the first crack. The beginning of something I wasn't ready to face. That night had started like any other. We had been together for about 6 months, and in my mind, things were good, really good. There was a rhythm to us, a sense of stability. I believed we understood each other. She talked about her day, her work, the little frustrations, and small wins. I listened, nodding, enjoying the sound of her voice more than the details themselves. I remember thinking, this is what a healthy relationship feels like. And she mentioned him, a colleague. Nothing unusual, just someone she worked with closely. She spoke about how helpful he was, how easily they solved problems together, how he always seemed to know what to say in difficult situations. It all sounded normal, but something inside me shifted. Not loudly, not enough to alarm me, just a quiet discomfort, like a faint echo in the background. I ignored it. I told myself I was overthinking. I didn't want to be that person, the insecure one, the one who reads too much into harmless things. So I smiled, nodded, and let her continue. But the way she spoke about him lingered in my mind. There was warmth there, a certain light in her expression. Still, I buried the thought. As the food arrived and the conversation continued, that small discomfort began to grow. It wasn't overwhelming, but it was steady, persistent. I asked a simple question. Casual, careful. Do you two work closely? Then another, a little more pointed. Is he seeing anyone? That's when she paused. She looked at me, not with anger, not with defensiveness, but with a calm, knowing expression, a slight smile that felt like it carried more meaning than her words. And she said it again. You're just jealous. Soft, certain, almost amused. Something in me reacted instantly. Not outwardly, but inside there was resistance. I didn't want that label. I didn't want to be seen that way. So I brushed it aside, laughed lightly, and denied it without hesitation. I'm not jealous, I said, just curious. And just like that, I shut the door on the conversation. Not because it was resolved, but because I didn't want to explore it. The rest of the evening passed quietly. We talked about other things, lighter things. We left the restaurant, walked side by side, and everything appeared normal. But inside me, something stayed unsettled. Her words replayed in my mind over and over again. Not because I believed them, but because I didn't fully understand them. I focused on proving to myself that I wasn't jealous. I convinced myself that I had handled the situation well, that I had been calm, mature, unbothered. What I didn't realize was this. It wasn't about whether I was jealous or not. It was about what I felt and what I refused to acknowledge. Over the following weeks, small changes began to appear. Nothing dramatic, nothing obvious, just different. She became more guarded with her phone, not secretive in a way that could be easily confronted, but subtle enough to be noticed if you were paying attention. Her plans became less specific, her explanations shorter, her presence slightly more distant. And me? I kept telling myself the same thing. Don't overthink it. I convinced myself that any tension I felt was my fault, that maybe I had made things uncomfortable by asking questions, that maybe she was pulling back because I had seemed insecure. So instead of observing what was happening clearly, I turned inward and blamed myself. I ignored what I saw. I ignored what I felt. I chose comfort over truth. But the truth doesn't disappear just because you avoid it. It waits. One afternoon, everything changed. She was in the shower. The apartment was quiet except for the sound of running water. Her phone was on the table beside me. Then it buzzed. A message appeared on the screen. It was from him. And the words, they weren't casual. They weren't professional. They carried a meaning I could no longer ignore. In that moment, everything connected. The dinner, the tone in her voice, the distance that followed. All the pieces I had refused to assemble suddenly formed a clear and painful picture. When she walked out and saw my face, she knew. There was no need for long explanations at first. Just silence. Heavy and unavoidable. Then came the truth. Slowly at first, then all at once. She admitted that it had started harmlessly. Conversations that felt easy. Moments that felt exciting. A connection that grew without clear boundaries. And when she mentioned him that night at dinner, she had been watching me. Waiting, perhaps, for reaction. But I gave her none. No honesty. No vulnerability. No expression of how I truly felt. And to her, that silence meant something. It made her believe I didn't care enough to question it. That realization hurt more than anything else. Not just what had happened, but how I had played a role in allowing it to grow unchecked. I had been so focused on appearing strong, unaffected, and secure that I failed to be real. I failed to speak. I failed to connect. That relationship didn't survive. By the time everything was out in the open, the distance between us had already grown too wide. Trust had been replaced with doubt, closeness with silence. And silence is where everything had begun. Looking back, the lessons are clear. Not easy, but clear. Sometimes what we call insecurity is actually awareness trying to surface. Sometimes silence is not strength, it's avoidance. And sometimes the fear of being misunderstood leads us to hide the very emotions that could have saved us. If I could go back to that night, I wouldn't laugh it off. I wouldn't pretend. I would speak honestly. I would say, something about this makes me uncomfortable. Help me understand it. Not as an accusation, not as control, but as truth. Because real connection isn't built on pretending to feel nothing. It's built on the courage to feel and to say it out loud. And maybe, just maybe, that would have changed everything. In the end, it wasn't just about what she did. It was about what I didn't do. I didn't speak up when something fell off. I didn't trust my instincts enough to explore them. And I let the fear of being seen the wrong way stop me from being honest. That experience changed me. It taught me that silence can cost you more than honesty ever will. That real strength isn't pretending you're unbothered. It's having the courage to express what you truly feel, even when it's uncomfortable. So if you take anything from this story, let it be this. Don't ignore that quiet voice inside you. Don't hide your feelings just to seem strong. The right conversation at the right time can save you from the wrong ending. And if this story spoke to you, if you've ever been in a situation like this or learned something from it, make sure you support the channel. Hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments. I'd really love to hear your experience. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel for more real, honest stories about relationships, growth, and life lessons we all need. Your support means more than you know. I'll see you in the next one.